works, it's going to be a great success. And if it goes wrong, we're going to be very sorry about it. But since the planets are aligned, everything is going to work. We are in Cairo between the 3 pyramids, and the guide told me that the pyramids are oriented towards the Orion constellation, which are called the Three Marys. So, as well as the pyramids are aligned towards the Orion constellation, the state of Tocantins is aligned towards the success of this plan. So I'm going to pass the floor to Secretary Leandro. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you to my partners, Ariel and Celso. With the General Prosecution of the state, the Secretariat of Environment, a group of secretariats, and by determination of the Governor Vanderlei, he was here at COP 2019 as a vice governor, and the colleague from Pará mentioned that we really need the political will. We really need the technicians to advance. It's worth saying that we have been in the development of this process for 2 years, creating a legal arrangement so that we could search in the market a partner that wanted with us to carry out such an innovative work in Brazil, and that wanted to bring the qualification and the training of all of the technical team. During this period, we qualified our technical team in the carbon market so that they could understand, and we searched all of those partners, all of those actors, so they could be in the same energy as the pyramids of Egypt for the success of this project. Tocantins Carbono today is an SPE, a specific purpose society. Here I just designed a brief history to show that in 2012 we created the Mixed Economy Society, that we could create a subsidiary, a whole full-time subsidiary to focus on the private properties. In 2020, we have instituted through a state law the program of partnerships and investments called Tocantins PPE. We created then the Secretariat of Participations and Investments, represented by Prosecutor José Alberto, and Tocantins Parceria created a board where we had a technical team, a highly qualified technical team, and we are developing, besides Tocantins Carbono, we are developing photovoltaic plants, marinas, hospitals, with the partnership with the private initiative of several projects and PPPs. In January, we have the bid for our solar farms and our solar plants. In 2021, we had an interesting issue. We had, in the mixed economy societies, we have a business plan. When it is elective, we are elected to this job, and we had to plan a business plan for the company. It is a law. And 2 years ago, as a determination of the government, we have already made this business plan. And within this business plan, we have included the 9 goals of the partnership, and we have expanded the company, and we defined our work in the area of environmental assets and carbon credits. In March 2022, we also created the company bylaws focused on the commercialization of environmental assets and carbon credits. In August 2022, recently, we signed a cooperation agreement All of the other secretariats that demand a project, that need technical assistance and need to develop a partnership, they have a cooperation agreement with us through Secretary Miyuki and Marli. They developed this project in partnership with us.
Então, eu vou tentar falar para vocês que sem mostrar.
I'm going to try to tell you about it. Within this process, we, in September and October 2022, very recently, we launched in the market a public call, an instrument from Law 13333 that established a tool called Business Opportunity. We launched this Business Opportunity, which is an instrument that led us to this point. In this business opportunity, which is in the company by law based on the law 13303, the law 13303, if you don't know, is the same law that rules Petrobras, created by the Temer government. It mentions the economic order as a principle of the environmental defense, and it says that the direct exploration of economic activities by the state can only be developed by a state-owned company. And then we have the competences of the company. The company can carry out the direct exploration of economic activities by the state. We also work with land regularization with the resources that we get. And through our bylaws, we can commercialize, provide, and execute products and services. We can actually provide services to other states, to the secretariats, and we also have the possibility of having a partner through the Institute and through this business opportunity. So Article 28 of the law tells us that we have the possibility of having a partner through the Institute and through this business opportunity. So we started looking for partners. The business stages. So how did we get to this point? The first step was our administration board started studying the market. So what kind of businesses we could do with partners to yield profit to the company. And coincidentally, the Environmental Secretariat determined that we started doing carbon commercialization. So all of the viability studies, all of the market studies led us to carbon credits. And then we published the public call. We told the market that we needed a partner to reach some goals with us. We needed resource allocation. So in this public call, the national and international public call, we had 3 companies interested in being our partners. 1 British company, 1 Swiss company, and a Brazilian company. And then we had the phases of analyzing the company. The main focus was knowing if the company had financial resources, financial capital to invest in our partnership. So after analyzing the companies, we spent 2 days negotiating with the company privately and seeing which are the advantages that the company would bring to the project. And then we finalized the negotiation stage. And then we had the approval of our executive board, seeing if the company is good, if it was what we were looking for. And then we move on to the General Assembly of the shareholders. We had private shareholders, even though the state has most of the shares. And after all of this approval, we forward to the Commercial Assembly, and then we put together the commercial registry, and then we put together the Society of Specific Purpose, the Specific Purpose Society that I told you that we are registered as. And we were very satisfied with the three companies, two foreign companies and one national company, trying to be our partners. And the detail is we were passing through an election campaign. We were in the election period. So that showed that the companies believed in the state of Tocantins, and that gave us a lot of reliability. Today, we have Tocantins Parcerias in the state of Tocantins, associated to Mercuria, the company from Switzerland, and we created Tocantins Carbono SPE Limited. This is the differential in this project. We are out of all these laws that the state is used to, and we join the market very transparently. I'm going to say later that this model was followed by the public prosecution of the state, by the Court of Auditors. All of our PPPs in all stages have a partnership with the court, so they analyze step by step, and at the end, we have no problem with it. The Specific Purpose Society, which is the SPE, what is it? It is also under the law 13,303. The law says that we can have this kind of society. And then we have the business plan, which is mandatory for the company. And then we have the state law 1917 that authorizes us to have, the law says that one of the state guidelines is the policy on climate change, the fostering of action plans by bodies and entities that contribute to the reduction of deforestation and the net emissions of greenhouse gases. And at the end, we also have the law 1917 again, saying that the state of Tocantins can sign agreements and partnerships for the development of the state policy of climate change. So all of the legal framework was prepared so that we could get to this point. What are the objectives of the SPE? These objectives are in the public call. We wanted to create the SPE so that we can together execute the measures to structure the state of Tocantins to become eligible for the work in the voluntary carbon market that did not involve reduction goals for the emissions in the NDCs signed in the Paris Agreement. The second point is to guarantee the purchase and sales of the carbon credits eligible from 2016 until 2023. The financial arrangement, well, what we proposed to our partner so that our partners could allocate resources so that we can go through all the stages of carbon credits. Thanks to Marli, Miyuki, and the whole state government, we advanced a lot in this phase, but we needed to advance even more. So in the public call, we included an annex that talks about all the actions step by step, and it was estimated in 15 million reais. This investment by Mercuria is exclusive for the actions that were presented. SEMAP had an agreement with us asking for assistance for those actions, so the resource is exclusively designated to those actions. And also regarding the registration, depending on the volume of carbon, there is a cost of registration, and Mercuria is going to pay for that registration. The company Tocantins Parceria is going to continue in the process of that SPE with the operational, technical, legal support. All of our team is going to be involved and is going to pay for this assistance. and the revenue derived from the commercialization for the sales of the environmental assets will be linked to the climate fund in the environmental secretariat. So Tocantins Parceria is a service provider. After this stage, all of the resources will go to the climate fund and will be followed by the environmental secretariat. And what about the administration of the SPE? There's a law that rules the administration of the SPE. The formation of the SPE was approved by the administration board. The partnership is represented by the director president. So it is a regular company, and I'm going to associate my company to another company. So I am the owner of the company, and I'm going to administrate this other company. And likewise, the Mercuria is going to have another administrator. So SP has two administrators, one from Tocantins Parceria and one from Mercuria. We don't have an administration body of our own. We're going to get the specialists that Mercuria already has. The state has some specialists as well. We're going to join them and promote the actions. And something that is fundamental is the governance committee, and the law requires this governance committee. The governance committee is going to assist the partners and the administration and follow the action that will be carried out. And in this case, we created an arrangement with Mercuria to bring to this governance committee four main secretariats: the planning secretariats, the environmental secretariat, the finance secretariat, and SP. And Mercuria also has a chair in the governance committee. So we are sharing with the other colleagues because we have a project of over 10 years, as you said, as you saw. So we're going to have resources for the climate fund. We have the safeguards of benefits. We have sharing of benefits. So it's very interesting. When we develop the work, it's very interesting for transparency terms. We had a meeting at the Court of Auditors, and a counselor said that we're going to have problems, but I guess we should innovate. For this type of format, we are sure that because we have three companies trying to compete and participate with us, it's because they saw that the government of Tocantins has credibility to move forward with this project. So this is the arrangement. I'm not going to say a little bit more because we have little time. This is the arrangement that we developed. I would like to thank the whole team of Tocantins for this opportunity. Thank you. Now I'll pass the floor to Dr. Daniel Hafstead, one of the big partners and the big responsible for us to get here.
Alejandro.
Thank you, Mahali. Thank you, Alejandro. We're going to receive a lot of dust in our faces. I love that expression. I will talk about our history. Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger in September 2008 brought governors from Brazil, Mexico, and Indonesia to talk about this initiative. This new initiative of bringing these states and municipalities for the Global Action Solutions Act. And one component of that policy was a mechanism to promote California to help the tropical countries and the state and municipalities in the tropical region to maintain the standing forest. From the historical meetings, the task force of the governors for the climate and forest was established with 38 tropical members, almost 40, 1/3 of the forest in the world. The only problem is that the market for reducing emissions that was going to incentivize the states and municipalities never emerged. The program of the of the California government was criticized. People said that it would threat the indigenous right, that would generate a lot of money with things that have no value for the climate. And they were important criticisms because there were many projects that were the base of the criticism. But everything evolved, and we didn't have markets at the time that we today do. So now we are seeing the beginning of this new wave, this new phase in this story. Now we have more than 8,000 companies with commitments of net zero emissions, more than 8,000 in this net zero race. And most of them need help. They need to establish partnerships and they need to buy credits to achieve their goals. This week, on Monday, the UN Commission, the High Commission for Non-State Entities, various companies with net zero commitments could make a recommendation to the UN. And this recommendation was the following: companies shouldn't buy credits. They should achieve their emissions within their own companies. What about an aviation company? How can they do that? What about a fossil fuel company, an oil company? Because this transition into renewable is in progress. It's not, it hasn't ended. And many criticism are not to allow companies to get reputational benefits without cleaning their own companies. But other criticisms are these reductions won't be permanent, or these reductions will threaten the indigenous communities. But the jurisdictional red approach is solving many of the issues. Alejandro has just shown this jurisdictional program, and we didn't have one ton of this kind of credits, but Tocantins is in the forefront of this initiative with Acre, with other states who are progressing in the same direction. We have the system for result payment that in reality are not credit sales. What's coming from the Amazon fund, from RAM contracts, are actions that will retire historic emissions. They stay in Brazil in its accountability for the Paris Agreement. So we are not talking about the sale of credits that could be sold to other partners, other clients. It's another world. But it's not easy. These programs are very difficult. And this architecture that Alejandro just shown to us, this is fascinating because it was created in a short amount of time, very much based in the local legislation. And he was able to get an arrangement within the legal framework that Brazil has today. This is incredible. Tocantins has an advantage that other states do not have. They have reduced their emissions and they have the chance to have an amount of money coming early in its program. Maranhão has a similar situation, Amapá as well. And this is a barrier. How can you implement a program of such magnitude as the Tocantins program with no investments, with no new funding? And the other barrier is trust. People talk a lot about carbon credit, and they've been talking for many years, and many of the Amazon people are tired of this promise. What about the payment? When is it coming? Many do not believe anymore. And by sitting with companies, we are able to build trust. Big companies with this huge story of investment in this area. We must have the support of the national government. That's another barrier. And if you don't have support, at least you must have the agreement. They should say, okay, you may move on. We want support, but we won't oppose. And we should have technical support. And I wanted to, to highlight Monica de los Rios, our technical team. It was an honor to support Secretary Miyuki, Marley, and everyone else from the government of Tocantins in this agenda. And I wanted to highlight something that was exceptional in this process. We had heroes. One hero is the Secretary Miyuki. 1 year ago in Glasgow, she made a decision and she said, let's advance with that. And she was in a hurry. And Marley, she left her retirement. She's very young to retire, but she was fully committed to this project. And she's been working with that for many years, and she made it work. With no heroes, we are not able to advance with the agenda. If no trust, we cannot advance. Without money to start the engine, this agenda won't advance. With no technical support, we won't advance. But despite all the barriers, Tocantins at this historical moment is achieving that. I would like this session to be to the plenary session at the UN. It's an answer to that question of companies shouldn't buy credits. We are going to show them what's happening with this kind of partnership, with money coming to this consolidated program based on legislation with great institutions behind, and to let this development program grow and flourish. Thank you. Now, Celso Fiore from Mercura, our partner at SPE. Thank you, Marley. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Marli and Leandro, I'd like to greet all the team from the state of Tocantins, an exceptional team. We have the pleasure to work with them. I could use the same words of Daniel. The work of this team's work made it possible for us to be here today and made it possible what we are going to show you. And the results are going to be admirable and concrete. Back to the script. Maybe you don't know Mercurio, and I'm going to start by there. I'm going to be brief. Mercurio is a trader. We commercialize. It's one of the greatest company of energy products in the world. We are in 50 countries. We are working with many products, commodities. So, and we have this mission of promoting the financial flow between markets, especially in energy. And we are one of the main investors in the carbon credit market, investing in projects for them to happen, and with this connection between the person who is producing and the person who is consuming. So this is a very important link for the market. And my quick presentation is based on some questions. The first question is, what is important for Mercuria in such a project? Why am I here? Why is my boss there? And why did we agree to develop this project with Tocantins? The first thing is transparency. Why is transparency so important? Celsius in Brazil, when is in Geneva, our technical colleagues are in London and Houston. It's hard for a team to see such a project and feel trust, to know that it's going to be transparent and it's going to pass through the scrutiny of the society and all the control bodies. So transparency is critical for us. The integrity of the credits has quality and has value, and the credibility of this project. And what is credibility? Is to be sure that this resource that will come from the world into Tocantins will be used for its ends, promoting the change we want. This is credibility, legal certainty, and long term. What is the main discomfort for a company to invest in countries with a political cycle? Is the little seasonality and the unsafety around this political cycle every 4 years and so on. We know this is very important for democracy, but we must know how to work with that. And when we create a framework, we have this long-term safety. We understand that this political cycle is able to cope with that, bringing important results. So these are the main points for Mercury. So what do I think is important for the state from Mercuria? We are an agile company from the private initiative. We make things happen quickly. We have technical support. We have the commercial ability to find the resources wherever they are, bringing them back to the state, access to resources. Mercuria has the mission of bringing comfort and budget safety so that the project will happen. More than bringing a potential purchase, that is a key part that is going to happen, we are going to bring budget safety so that the project can happen in a safe way and successful way. So this is one of the reasons why we are being successful in this project. And to end, this is a state program. The role of Mercuria is to monetize this asset, helping the state make it happen. It's a state program of the people from the state for the people of the state. So this resource flow must happen in an efficient way, in an agile way, bringing results the way we've been designing so that we can start with this snowball of carbon credit, this virtual cycle. The resources are going to enter, they are going to bring environmental, social, and production improvements, bringing more environmental protection with more carbon credits in a snowball. That's what we want to promote, and you're going to work hard with our colleagues from Tocantins to make it happen. And to wrap up, it's a hard work. It's a great challenge. The team is exceptional. And Leandro, we are going to feel the dust in our face, but we are going to see the alignment of the stars, Marli. So I'd like to thank you once more for the opportunity to talk to you. Thank you so much. Secretary Miyuki, come wrap up the session so that we can enter the coffee break that the Legal Amazon Consortium has enabled to us. I'd like to thank you once more for your presence. I know that you from Acre, you from Alagoas, and from other states here are looking forward to see everything happening, to seeing everything happening. At last copy, I said that we are going to make it happen because nobody else believes in the story that the carbon credits are going to be sold somehow. That's like Narubi said earlier on, the indigenous people qualified, the Quilombo people qualified, they educated themselves, and now they're pressuring us in a different way, but pressuring us because they did their part. What about us? So the state of Tocantins is committed to making it happen, doing our homework and the climate actions, but we want to be respected and we want to have our part in order to work in our communities, making this virtual cycle happen, this climate change being enhanced. That's what the world expects from us. Thank you. If you have a question, do you have questions? No? If you don't, let's go to the coffee break. Thank you so much. Have a great Sunday.